Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast. I'm your host Mike, and joining me today we have Paul. We're going to be talking about the draw at Walsall. And don't forget, as usual, you can help the cost of the show with one-off donations or regular subscriptions by joining us on Patreon. If you want to know more, look for the support us page on the website, which I've tweaked a little bit as well, so people have a visit of it, or drop me a message by email or Sutton Podcast socials. Big thank you to everyone who supported us in the past, and a very big thank you to those who currently still are. The website, I've tidied up a bit of the old interesting episodes of like the XU's views and the behind the scenes stuff. So it's worth having a little look if you haven't looked for a little while. But let's get on with it. And hello, Paul. How are you?
Yeah, very good, Mike. Very good, thank you.
Good. I mean, it's about 6 weeks, I think, since you were last on.
That long?
Yeah, Doncaster.
Huh.
So how have you been?
Good. Yeah, moved house and lots gone on with that, and obviously following the games as closely as I can. Not been to an away game for a while, so this is the first one in a while. So yeah, really good.
And I did love the confirmation where you said, yes, I can do the Walsall game. By the way, I know it's an away game. And
yeah, I had to get that in there.
Just a couple of quick bits. I just mentioned to Paul beforehand, I had a bit of trouble last week, and the interview with XU Lenny didn't get actually put up on Wednesday, so it only went yesterday, but it's well worth listening to. He's great value as always, Lenny. Also, Matt Gray today has moved up one spot to now be the 7th longest serving manager in the Football League, after Brendan Rodgers has parted company. And anyone who's not seen it on Twitter, the women's team today, oh my God, what a match. First of all, Gander Green Lane in the sunshine, as Paul will testify. Anyone watching live will see there's a little red hint on my face already. Got there early to help out, had to help clear the dugouts of water, which is fun. So I must remember not to get there early again. I was on the wrong side of the pitch for a little while, and we went 2-0 down very, very quickly. So I had to scurry to the other side of the pitch, which worked because we pulled it back to 2-2. Then we went 3-2 down, then pulled it back to 3-3. Then almost last kick of the game, we were 4-3 down. And to be honest, it was like, oh, okay, you know what? They're league leaders. They're not running away with it, but they're top of the league. We've been struggling, so it was actually not bad.
So that was at half time, was it 4-3?
Half time 4-3.
Mm-hmm.
They then came out and pulled away a little bit and made it 6-3. It's like, okay, all right, you can probably see why they're doing so well. And then our lot just came back. We got to 6-4, then we got a penalty, which is quite funny because they were arguing whether it was actually inside or outside the box. And there was Dave Laughlin, and he was like, they should really be arguing whether that's a penalty or not, because it's more likely. But yeah, Lily scored the penalty, I think, for a hat-trick. Then got a free kick. And I quickly just said, oh, Jazz is coming for this. Let me just quickly whip out the phone and fill this. Hang on 1 second, Jazz. Got the phone out. Yep, she scored. Beautiful. 6-6. It's like, this is a mad game. And then almost the last kick of the game, they scored. And it was like, we're sitting there going, oh, great. Marvellous. This is fantastic. So it was 6-7, rather. But what a game. And then our guys just went up the other end again. Had a great header, I think it was. Came off the crossbar. And the girl who did that followed it up for another equaliser. I think that was the 5th equaliser in the match. So 7-7. It's certainly the most goals I've seen at Gander Green Lane, I think. But yeah, what a game. And there's only about 85 people there. So yeah,
aren't these games free to get in as well?
Free to get in.
What value for money?
You can go to the bar, get yourself a pint, and walk around. I mean, honestly, it's definitely worth doing, and they do absolutely love the support, and they really appreciate it. But it's a really good game, and I'm a bit emotionally wrecked, to be quite honest with you. But before I press the button, I've just got to check. Did you get and do your homework?
Yes, I did.
You did. Okay.
I did have a look at the lineup, and I've come out with a name.
I will then press the button. Here we go.
And now, 125 years in the making. The Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. Sutton United all-time ultimate 11.
Wonderful. So, first of all, who are you challenging and with who?
I am going to challenge Will Randall.
Will Randall, okay. And who are you putting in for Will Randall?
Sir Michael Stevens.
Oh,
Is my suggestion. Great winger in his day. Again, he was a bit before my time, but hell of a player for the club. And I believe did he represent England C as well at some point?
You're not asking me that question.
No. I have a funny feeling he may have. I know he wore the England kit, obviously, for us, our game in the Anglo-Italian final. So I think I've seen that picture. So it could be that I'm getting confused. But yeah, what a player Mickey Stevens was back in the day as well. So yeah, I think legend of the club as well. So I'm quite happy to give Mickey a go, and good to see Ron Fearon got in as well. Was that last week or was that the week before?
That was last week. Yeah.
Yeah. Good to see some of the older players are coming in rather than it all being. I mean, the current squad and the likes are fantastic, amazing for the achievements, the things we've achieved. But yeah, good to get a few of the old faces in as well. So
yeah, I mean, I can't remember whose interview it was, but Vicky's name definitely came up when I was asking someone about which player would you have loved to have played with, and it might have been Bolty actually who said that. Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, we'll put that out for the vote, and we'll see if the old brigade can can beat the young ones again. And yeah, so the match, we do have to talk about it. I mean, it's probably been a bit harsh yesterday. I put out a little thing that looking at the last 6 games, we've only lost once, but then we've only won once as well. So it's kind of business end of the season. But before the match, what were your, apart from having a great day out, what was your hopes before the game? What was you hoping for at Walsall?
Yeah, I was hoping for a win. I wanted us to win this one, to keep the pressure up at the top. I know we're not out of it by any stretch yet, but with all the fixtures coming up, we've got to be on fire, really, haven't we? To win some of these games, to win all of these games. We probably can't do with dropping too many more points now to make the playoffs. So I was hopeful of getting all 3 points prior to the game. Yeah,
I mean, I know they've drawn quite a few games. I think I could have this horribly wrong, obviously, but I think they've drawn something like 10 of the last 15 games. So again, let's not take that as serious. That would be a load of crap.
We've only played them. I know we've only played them 4 times now, but they seem to be becoming a bit of a bogey side, don't they?
They've not beaten us this season. So
no, true. 2 draws, yeah.
Yeah. I think up until yesterday we hadn't scored against them either, did we? Or
wasn't ever 1-0? Was it 1-0 last earlier this season? Yeah. But we've played poor. We've up to yesterday. I think we've generally played quite poorly against them as well. Yeah. So I think
we've definitely had the thing of their going, how on earth was Sutton doing so well? Because every time we played them, we have been atrocious. There's a few changes. Obviously, the headline was Kobe. Headline pun. I didn't actually hear why he was out, but I presume it's to do with the cut on the head. I didn't hear.
Yeah, I didn't hear, to be honest.
But what were you thinking of that? We're to shuffle it again with Joe coming back in into central defence and Enzio. And I think we also changed Sam for Rob, which I actually thought was going to happen anyway. I'll be honest. But what were your thoughts on the lineup? It's good to see Eastie back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, good to see Eastie back and got everything we always get from Eastie. So very happy with his contribution. Joe has covered in at centre-back. I couldn't tell you how many games, but it's been quite a few, isn't it? He's considering, you'd like to think we have 5 centre-backs at the start of the season? Mm-hmm. And the amount of games he's played at centre-back, he's well-versed at it. And I think they were, between him and Ben, they were doing all right, Yeah. They had a pretty good performance. There was not a lot wrong there at all. And Enzio has done a good job at right back as well, hasn't he? He's very capable there. So I think I almost prefer him there a little bit than on the wing.
We did say that a few months ago where he did kind of come on and be like, okay, he's done a lot of right backs, so it's only fair he gets a run out in his favourite position. He's probably not impressing as much as he was at right back. I don't know whether that's just he's more switched on because he feels, right, I've got to concentrate a little bit more. But yeah, he's doing a great job for us back there. You could say possibly harsh on Harry because he never really lets us down. But
it was his birthday as well yesterday.
I know it was, yeah. I did find the oldest picture I could possibly find of him. He looks about 10 in the picture I found. But yeah, it does seem to be Eastie plus either Harry or Ali. And you can kind of see why. Eastie just has that thing of, I think we said a couple of weeks ago, bringing everyone up around him and having just everyone switched on that little bit.
Yeah. And Ali has been good this season as well. It's difficult to drop Ali, but Eastie feels like if he's fit, he's going to play.
Yeah, absolutely. But they weren't troubling us much in the first half. To be fair, we weren't troubling them that much in the first half. The goal possibly should have come a minute or so earlier when Ali burst into the box and just couldn't. Well, it looked like he couldn't quite get his feet settled, but it does. Then watching it back, maybe their player does do a great tackle. I'm not sure what you felt at the time.
Yeah, there was a couple of very good last-ditch tackles from a couple of their players, actually. I don't know if I was quite applauding, but I was certainly impressed with some of their challenges. Some of their last-ditch challenges, and they were dealing with a lot of that. We were putting quite a good bit of pressure on them. Actually, I was quite happy with our performance. I thought we were definitely on top and playing well. Yeah.
Yeah. From one angle, it looked like their player might have got the last touch, but then it was definitely from Ali.
I thought it was definitely Ali bundling it over. Yeah, it was tight in there, wasn't it? So,
but typical us. We just needed that second goal. Just doesn't come. How were you feeling at half time? Were you like, we need the second goal? I know we've got hindsight, but were you feeling we need the second goal, or was it still quite comfortable?
You're never comfortable, are you, without that second goal? There's always that. Only takes one little mistake, one little touch of brilliance or something from an opposition player, or a bit of luck or something, Yeah. And they're back in the game. And going into stoppage time, they were putting a little bit of pressure on us. And then, that free kick. As I listened to Matt's interview, and he was saying how he was more disappointed with the giving away the free kick than what Jack did, and I can totally side with that. It's he's been such a good player for us, Jack Rose, that no one can have a problem with that. But it's horrible when it happens so late in the game, isn't it? It's like go on, sorry.
Go on.
It did feel after, it's like, okay, 2 points dropped there. We're this far back. In the heat of the moment, it's like, we've blown the playoffs. But when you sit back and think about it, it's like it's in our hands still. We are playing so many sides around us that this is in our hands. We can still do this. But we need a couple of goals. We need some goals going in. So
we were putting a bit of pressure on them in the second half. Obviously, the substitutions, Lee's come back. Obviously, we're not sure how bad his injury is, but you're obviously hoping for him to have his impact. And he did have the ball in the net, but he did quite blatantly foul their player as well.
Yeah, we weren't particularly cheering for that one as soon as we saw the challenge.
I think Matt also went back a little bit further than just giving away the free kick. I think he said it was the throw on a little minute before saying we had the ball. Why did we lose it? But it was just one of those that, like, as soon as they made that break and you knew it was the 95th minute, you're like, oh God, just something. I mean, Joe kind of had to give away the free kick because the guy was bearing down. Another 2 or 3 steps he would have unleashed and probably scored a worldie anyway. But you're quite right with Jack. One of their fans sort of jumped on the Twitter saying, and that's why we released him. No, I'm not having that. I mean,
not at all.
What he's got in the bank, he could mess up several more times before we can be like, hang on, you're a liability.
Yeah, definitely not. He's totally our number one, and he's saved us so many times this season. Yeah, absolutely. These things happen, you know. Yeah. It's not a regular thing by any stretch, is it? It's not.
Absolutely not.
So,
but what is a regular thing, and as much as I try and defend it, late goals.
When was the last one? It feels like it's been a while. It's been a
little while, but there's I have a list. You'll be surprised to learn. It's a spreadsheet. So we scored fairly late against Crawley. We scored late against Crewe. We scored late against Doncaster. We scored late against Swindon. Well, we scored 2 late ones against Swindon. We scored late against Gillingham. So the last one didn't mean anything, was against Crawley. Prior to that, it was Farnborough, which again didn't really mean much because we'd lost. Prior to that, it was Walsall in the last 10.
So that was for them to get a point.
Yeah, but way back to Gillingham.
Yeah.
Away.
It was October, wasn't it? Early October.
Yeah. I don't have the date on it, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it was early October.
We threw away a point there, and then there's a couple others back there. So it is quite a while, but we are on minus goals in the last 10 minutes. We're -8 for the season. Not goals, sorry, points. And in the last 90 plus minutes, it's -6 out of those -8. So it's the 90 plus minutes. For some reason, just is not going our way.
What was it? Do you know what it was last season? I know it was even.
Of course I do. So last season, in 90 plus was actually -3.
Okay.
But in the last 10, it was +1.
Okay.
And Matt, overall, even taking this season into account, I think he's on +3. So we had +5 for the previous 2 seasons. So yeah, it's kind of even-ish, but it doesn't feel like it at the moment.
Yeah.
But as I think Matt said a couple of times, it's like, what is it? Is it a mental thing? Is it we're making the same mistake over and over? No. Is it the same player? No. So it's just one of those things. I don't know whether clubs just think, oh, we'll get at them on 90 minutes and we have a collective panic. But yeah, it is definitely something that's irritating at the moment, I should imagine. And I wouldn't like to be at the training ground tomorrow.
I can't imagine it's going to be a shout and ball type thing. I think he's very methodical about it all, and it's
that's one thing I've never really thought is, you've watched that Wrexham documentary, and their manager, like, every second word was a swear word, and I'm just sitting there going, I can't actually imagine Matt doing that. It just doesn't seem effective doing it all the time.
No, not at all. You got to give it some every now and again, I imagine, to have an effect. But I think he's more cool, calm. Tell everyone exactly what you want from them, and he
more thinking laps. You let in another goal, boys. Off you go.
Maybe the fine system needs an addition.
So you sort of hinted earlier, looking forward to the rest of the season. We have some really, really big matches coming up, most of which are at home. So we've got Stockport, which we'll talk about in a moment, on Friday. Remember, everyone, it's Friday. Then we've got Bradford away on Monday. And then can't remember the order. Actually, I have got it written down somewhere. Can't remember the order, but we've got
Orient next.
We've got Orient. Then we've got Northampton. Then Colchester and Rochdale away, and then Carlisle at home. So it's the Stockport, Bradford, Orient, and Northampton in the next 4 games, all above us. I think they're all top 5 or 6. I've said for a little while, this is a bunch of horrible players, and they could quite easily win all of those games.
Yeah.
And then lose to Rochdale.
They've picked up a little bit, haven't they? They got a result at AFC Wimbledon.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a 0-0 would have been fair from what I read, but on social
Everyone
media.
gets a result at Wimbledon.
Yeah.
But what are you sort of feeling on these games? I mean, as Matt said the last couple of weeks, it's not make or break for our season getting 2 away points. And again, if you look at it on that like that, 2 away points is quite handy.
Yeah.
But they're both games that we probably could come away with going, oh, damn it.
If only, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But what are you sort of feeling in the next few games?
Yeah, we're the home games. You know, we're certainly in for chance. We're quite good against Northampton as well. Mm-hmm. Orient are still just picking up results, aren't they? They seem to just still be picking up off the sides. And I'm not sure what their gap is at the minute, but they're doing all right up there, aren't they? Yeah, Stevenage, who we've already played twice, seem to be the ones having the wobble now, aren't they? So
exactly, yeah.
Which is a pain. But there's going to be nerves in these sides who are going for the playoffs and going for, or already in the playoffs and going for the top 3. There's pressure on them, you know? There is pressure on them to make sure they win. And coming to Sutton is not going to be easy.
Absolutely not.
So we can certainly give them a game. And I wouldn't be surprised if we win 3 of the next 4, for example. You know, I'll be quite happy with a point probably at Bradford. But you can't rule anything out with this side because we are we stick to the job at hand and we do not surprise ourselves because it's not a surprise. We get the results. You know, we get ourselves over the line with these things.
Yeah, I mean, we're 10th at the moment, and we looking at it is 6 points off the playoffs. But in Stockport and Salford did us a big favour by drawing the other night.
Mansfield's game in hand is over against Orient as well, I believe. So I don't think that's not going to be an easy one.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it's not beyond it, but yeah, we need to start picking up points. I mean, what we don't want is Orient. I think could wrap up promotion because they're 11 points away from 4th at the moment. So theoretically, they could possibly wrap up promotion at our place. What we don't
surely they could do it before with the results going. If we beat teams around them,
yeah, possibly. But what we don't want, Jack Rose, is we don't want any keepy uppies in the edge of the area. If you could make sure that doesn't happen.
We've given Orient 1 title. Let's not do it again.
Yeah, exactly. But on to Friday. What are your thoughts? I spoke to Russ from the Scarf Bergara Wore podcast, and I'm going to slot that in here. And joining me now, back on the show, is Russ from the Scarf Bergara Wore podcast. I got that one right this time, I'm sure.
Yeah, just about right.
Yeah, excellent, lovely. So you support Stockport County. You have done for a month or 2, if I remember from last time. But we like to just find out a little bit more about people and essentially tell us who you are. So if you give us a second, tell us who are you?
Yeah, so I'm Russ Johnson. I'm a Stockport County fan, have been since the late 80s, early 90s. I do a podcast called the Scarf Bergara Wore, which is a homage, I guess, to... Oh, I hate when I said that. I'm a bit sick in my mouth when I said homage then. It's to hark back to one of our legendary managers, Danny Bergara, from the late 80s, early 90s. So he's the first manager that I started to watch, and he was really successful for us. And we've got a song that we sing on the terraces called "The Scarf My Father Wore." So we've merged the two to become the Scarf Bergara Wore. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And we're loving life at the minute as county fans.
Yeah. So the season kind of, I think we spoke at the beginning of the season roughly, and things weren't going as hopefully expected, but it certainly turned around recently. What's been the highs and lows for you so far?
The lows probably definitely the start of the season when we first spoke. I mean, we didn't sort of match the expectations that we were set out that were set out to us, you know, through the manager and through the club. I said at the start of the season I'd be happy with 7th or above, and now we're achieving that. I'm pretty happy. But people always want more, don't they? So there's still a bit, I won't say unrest, but just a feeling that, yeah, we had a bad start. We had 8 players or 9 players come in, and that's taken its time to click or gel or whatever you want to say. Now that we have got ourselves into a really good position, it just feels like we're flattering to deceive slightly at the moment, and you might see that when we play on Friday. That's definitely the low. The start, the highs. I mean, we beat Charlton in the FA Cup. That was pretty good. And we're just hard to beat. I think that's probably the high of it. We're hard to beat in the back third and in the middle, but we're not really clicking in the final third.
We know that very much. We just had a literally last kick of the game. I think it was equaliser yesterday at Walsall, where we should have actually buried it. We can't score many goals. I think we beat Crawley a couple of weeks ago, and it was the first time we scored 3 goals all season.
Yeah, and they were down to 10 men as well, weren't they? I think.
Yeah, but your last match, obviously, I think you've got another game before. You got a midweek coming up?
No, don't think so.
No, okay. So you played Salford. How was that? Promotion rivals? Was it cagey?
I wouldn't say cagey. I think we dominated the first half. We scored and hit the post. We should have put the game out of sight in the first half, and this is what happens with County. We're unbeaten in March. 2 wins and 4 draws. All the draws were at home. And we won our 2 away games. Believe it or not, won them both 1-0. So, like I say, really hard to beat. Against Salford, they were a really good team once they'd actually worked us out in the second half. But I would say we were better than them. But you could tell they had quality in certain areas. I wouldn't say cagey. There was over 10,000 there. It was a really open game. It took them, and I don't know if you've seen it on the EFL highlights yet, but it took them pretty much a wonder strike to equalise a goal worthy of winning any game, to be honest. But it was the equaliser, it was just more. We had them at arm's length for pretty much the whole of the match, but just let it slip with that wonder goal. So yeah, we're strong. We are strong. I'm not going to sit here and say we're not. We're really strong. It would probably just take a bit of form and maybe 1 or 2 additions, and we would be right up there.
So what are your kind of hopes? You're 5th now, with 7 to go, 4 points off automatics, but then looking the other way, only 3 points off of 8th.
Yeah.
So where are you kind of? Are you still on the? As long as we're in the playoffs, I don't care, or are you looking up above?
It's a good question. I mean, like I said, I set off with 7th or above. I'd be happy. Now we're in there. I feel like we're probably going to end up in the playoffs. I don't think anybody's looking down either in the fan base or at the club. I feel like we're going to end up in the playoffs. We're probably going to lose in the playoffs and not go up is my prediction, unless we can somehow click in the final third. Obviously, we can't sign anybody, so we've got what we've got. If we do click somehow and turn these draws into wins, then 3rd is a possibility. But I'm not holding out much hope for that, to be honest. There's only 7 games left, I think.
There is only 7 left. I mean, we've had a little blip recently where we've drawn a few games where we should have won them, to be fair. And then we lost to Grimsby, who should have absolutely been concentrating on their cup quarter-final. I don't know what they did, turn up and beating us. But we've got, in our run-in, we've got yourselves, Bradford, Carlisle, Northampton and Leyton Orient. So we've got a nice, easy last 7 games for those 5 in there. But it'll be just like, I'll be just so typical where we're struggling for form against teams around us, but then we'll play teams above us and just go, right, that's it. We'll get all 15 points out of those games. But what do you feel about the game on Friday? Are you confident, especially with the fact your away form's quite good, or are you kind of a little bit worried about it?
I wouldn't say worried. Confident slightly, yeah. I mean, we are good away from home. We don't concede many. It's one of those. We said it before the game the other night on Friday night against Salford. I got asked a few times, "What do you think about tonight?" And I was just probably the same answer for you for Friday. Is it depends which county turns up. We absolutely could turn up and win comfortably 1-0. that kind of thing. But at the same time, we have got it in us to to get rolled over by anybody. Crawley beat us this season. That was a low light if we're going back to that question. So I don't know. I'm fairly confident. I'm confident that we'll put out a good. Well, I'm confident, but it's not an absolute that we'll put out a good performance and we'll be strong and tight. Whether that equates to beating you or not, I don't know. Because you just mentioned the games you've got left. We've got Carlisle, Leyton Orient, and Gillingham. Now Gillingham are playing well, aren't they? So we've got those 3 away left in the 7.
Yeah.
So there's every chance that we could lose to you and go and beat them, or beat you and then go and lose to them. I don't know. It's just one of those. It's really hard to call at the moment.
Yeah, one of our other games in the mix is Rochdale away.
Right. Yeah.
So there's me on the one hand going, yeah, you know what, we could get 15 points and then we'll just lose to Rochdale and lose out in the playoffs again. That would be Sutton United. That'd be perfect. So who are the danger men? Who are we looking out for? And I hate. By the way, I know I'm coming on your show. I hate answering this question because it's a team. It's a team effort. But who is like the ones that make you kind of get up out of your seat and think, right, something's going to happen here?
I mean, that's a good question. At the moment, it's probably Will Collar. He's injured, but I think he might be back for Friday. So we've got a guy called Will Collar. I mean, Paddy Madden. I think everybody at this level knows Paddy Madden. He's our talisman. Played 100 games for us on Friday, 100th game. Carl Wotton up front, big tall striker. So if we get crosses in, he's likely to go for those. In terms of getting you on your feet when he gets on the ball, that's a really good question. We don't really have somebody like that. It's a good question. I mean, I particularly like Anthony Sarcevic, who came from Bolton. He was Bolton's captain when we signed him in the National League. He's a classy player, but he's just not been doing it. He excites me, but he's just so far off form. It's quite telling. So yeah, to answer the question, probably Paddy Madden because he's our sort of talisman striker.
Perfect. And we've been hit quite badly this season with all the train strikes. So a lot of the clubs with big followings haven't managed to get many people down there. So what are we kind of expecting numbers wise? Is it going to be? Are we going to rub our hands, go right? That's some money in the kitty for next season.
Yeah, I think you will. Generally speaking, I don't know how many we've been allocated at Sutton. I'm not coming down for it myself, but we generally take good away followings up and down the country, so you can expect it to be 2/3 full, if not full, for the away end, depending on what you've given us. We're good at away followings.
Excellent, lovely. Well, thank you very much.
No problem.
Obviously, outside of Friday, good luck for the rest of the running. I mean, what would be lovely is if we draw each other in the semi-final of the playoffs, because we're both expecting to get to the playoffs and then lose. So one of us would be wrong. Because Sutton, we know, never do well in playoffs. We've lost every single playoff game we've ever played. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's shocking. But yeah, thank you for your time, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers.
He's sort of strangely confident at getting something, but wouldn't surprise him if we didn't get anything. So I think I got 10 minutes out of the conversation of us both going, well, it could go either way, to be fair. So let's add to that 10 minutes. And what do you think?
Oh, yeah, it could go either way, definitely. Yeah. No, they're a financial superpower for this league, really, aren't they? You know, supposedly paid a good 6-figure sum for Isaac. And he's not even getting the side at the minute. Wotton up front seems to be a sunshine boy at the minute. And they are a good attacking side, you know. When we played them up there, it was the game changed from kick-off pretty much with Omar getting sent off.
Yeah.
So they don't really know much about us other than from, you know, when we were in that division at the same time as them 3 seasons ago. But we've certainly got a chance. We'll be up and at them. We'll harass them. They won't have it all their own way. And if we can, you know, I think we need a goal. Early goal would be nice, and see where we go. But it really could go either way. It really could, couldn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, I think a few weeks ago we were scoring a few early goals, and that was setting us up nicely because obviously teams are then coming to attack us, and we're able to hit them on the break. I mean,
get behind them, yeah.
Almost almost how we're set up is to soak up a bit of pressure and go, okay, well, you can have the ball, do what you like with it, but give us our 35% possession, and 5% is going to be in your area.
I don't know what we had yesterday, but there's a couple of games where we've actually had more possession recently, wasn't there? Was it Grimsby or was it? Yeah,
I think it was Grimsby and we lost.
Yeah.
So I hate it whenever we see that.
It's like, no, we don't want the ball, you have it.
I was having a chat today with a couple of different people at the ladies' game, and I was saying it could be interesting, the Carlisle match, if both teams just need a point to wrap up either automatics or figure. And they're going, oh yeah, we'll settle for a 0-0. And I'm like, nah, let's make it exciting. 5-5, come on. Let's score loads of goals. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Should be a goodish crowd because they're well supported. So
yeah, hopefully
we'll get a crowd that's not been decimated by the train strikes.
Is there another train strike at the weekend?
No, it's not. No, it's not. But early in the season when we had the big following,
oh yeah,
we weren't getting them. So we were. I don't think we got Tranmere. We didn't get Bradford, and there was another one.
That's right. I remember Tranmere. It was quite difficult.
But so hopefully we'll have a nice big crowd to do it, and no pyros. Kids, don't bring pyros. They're rubbish and illegal. Put that in as well. But I think you've probably thought I forgot, and I probably did forget. Player of the day. Give you a second to think about it. I'm going to need a second as well because I was expecting someone else on, and I hadn't actually thought about it. So give me a second.
Now watch me do my dance. I'm the player of the day.
Right. So who's your first choice?
Let's go with Ali. Obviously scored the goal, and he's had a good game in my opinion. I thought he definitely played a big part. Solid in midfield. Quite happy with him, and he's a big player for us at the moment.
I hope he's one of the ones on a longer contract.
Let's not talk about that.
Mine is Eastie. Again, it just brings everyone up, and I think you might have said it actually. Start of last season. How on earth is? Obviously, we've had him for a while, but getting into the Football League is something just made him go, oh, okay. Switched on a lot more. Been brilliant for us. So yeah, go on. Who's your second?
I'll go Ben Goodliff. Yeah. Ever reliable. You know, we're so lost without him. Not so lost without him, but he was missed at the start. Well, for most of the season, and he come in and he's just shored everything up. And very happy with Ben's contributions.
I think he's got similar qualities to Craig, where he does a lot of talking and organising, and everyone just switches on a little bit more, so everyone's a little bit better. I'll go with Enzio. Again, doesn't make many mistakes at right back. I think he had a bit of a tough time yesterday because Dave wasn't overly worried about defending. But yeah, so we'll stick Enzio and we will see, put them up for the vote and find out like everyone else thinks. So that actually does about wrap it up. Thank you for your time. Thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you all soon. Thanks, Paul.
Cheers, mate.
And that wraps it up for this episode. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks to Paul and Russ for their time. Let us know what you think. Follow us on the socials at Sutton Podcasts. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all the usual stuff that the kids say. Subscribe to the podcast on your preferred platform as well. Make sure you stay up to date with all the latest episodes and do a review while you're there as well. This week you will get to hear the interview I did with Claire Parrish from the Paul Allen Project from a few weeks ago. It is really worth listening. Thankfully, she does a lot of my talking for me, answers the questions absolutely beautifully, and it is a really, really important story. So really, please do listen to that. And there is a collection for the Paul Allen Project on the Good Friday match against Stockport. After that, this will come as a surprise to them because I haven't actually confirmed the email yet, but we should have Will and David on talking about the Stockport match and looking forward to the Bradford match. Thanks again, take care and see you soon. Bye-bye.
United! United! United!